They say some people find peace in silence, but for others, silence only makes the pain louder. In the eastern forest of the temple, before the sun ever reached the ground, a young monk named Sora would already be deep in meditation. To the world, he was peace itself, but inside, a storm he had never tamed. Years ago, the flood took his younger brother Kai, and with him, a part of Sora drowned too. He never spoke of it, but every breath since then carried that silence, that guilt, that pain. Sora had once laughed. He had once run barefoot through the muddy paths of his village, chasing after frogs with his younger brother Kai. Back then, the world had color, and then came the storm. He remembered how the skies turned gray, how the villagers screamed, how the river swelled like a wounded beast, and how Kai playful, stubborn refused to come down from the hill. Sora reached out to him. He remembered yelling. He remembered trying to climb. He remembered the moment Kai slipped. But most of all, he remembered the silence that followed. That silence followed Sora into the temple. It sat with him every morning during meditation. It walked beside him as he swept the stones. It stared back at him when he looked into the pond. He had never told anyone. But inside, he was still at the river, still reaching, still failing. There was a winding path that led through the bamboo forest behind the temple. At the end of it was the river, the same river, the one that had taken Kai. Sora would walk that path in silence and sit by the bank. He never prayed. He never spoke. He simply watched. The river no longer raged, but to Sora, it was a graveyard without a stone, a ghost without a face. Every ripple in the water was a reminder. Every breeze that danced over the surface whispered, "What if?" One day, as the sun began to sink behind the hills, Sora heard the soft crunch of footsteps behind him. It was Master Kenshin. "Back to the river again?" he asked. Sora nodded. "What do you look for?" "What it took? It's still inside me." Kenshin handed him a smooth gray stone. "Take this," he said. "Keep it with you. Don't let go." Sora looked at the stone. It felt like nothing, and yet it would soon feel like everything. At first, the stone meant nothing, but by nightfall, it began to speak, not with words, but with weight. As he laid down, it dug into his side, not enough to hurt, but enough to remind. By morning, he found himself holding it, not because he wanted to, but because it felt necessary. Each day, he kept it closer. During tea, during meditation, during walking meditations. Days passed. The stone grew heavier, not in mass, but in meaning. Sora began to feel it in his joints, in the aching of his fingers, in the tensing of his shoulders. His sleep broke into fragments of memories: Kai's laughter, the river, the scream that never got a reply. He didn't let go, because the stone was no longer a test. It had become a tether. One morning during silent tea, Kenshin sat beside him. "Is the stone heavy?" "Yes." "Then why do you still hold it?" "If I let it go, I lose what little I have left." "You are not wrong," Kenshin said. "But ask yourself, are you remembering him or reliving the pain of losing him?" Sora had no answer, because deep down, he already knew. The wind carried the scent of rain that evening. Sora walked to the river alone. The stone was warm, now molded by his grip. It felt like a part of him, but it wasn't, and he knew it. He sat at the riverbank again. This time, he didn't stare at the water, hoping to see Kai. He stared at himself, at the reflection of a boy who never forgave. He opened his hand and looked at the stone. Its surface was worn smooth. Still, he couldn't let go. His breathing quickened, his heart pounded. Then he heard the memory of Kenshin's voice. "Are you remembering him, or reliving the pain of losing him?" Sora looked up at the sky. "I miss you, Kai." And finally, he let the stone fall. He didn't watch it sink. He didn't need to, because something heavier had already left him. A grief, a punishment, a prison, and in its place, emptiness. But not the hollow kind. the kind that makes room for something new. The temple looked the same, but Sora was not the same. He still woke before the sun, still swept the paths, still meditated. But there was no longer a storm beneath the stillness. There was only breath and life. The younger monks noticed. His gaze lingered on cherry blossoms. He smiled drearily but truly. Sometimes he even hummed after evening tea. One day Kenshin asked, "Is the stone gone?" Sora nodded, "But not the memory." "Good," Kenshin said. "Memories aren't anchors, they're lanterns on water." Sora understood. He didn't need the river anymore, because it now flowed within him, and so did Kai. Not as a wound, but as warmth. A story he could finally tell without breaking. Letting go is not forgetting. It's honoring what was while stepping into what is. If you too are holding a stone, ask yourself, is it helping you remember, or is it keeping you from living?